Indeed.
Hello, and I think I'll introduce it this time. We're back with Plastic Platforms. This week we've got a WrestleMania 38 slash gaming conversation for you all. I'd like to welcome you all. If you're listening on after the fact on Spotify, please drop us a 5-star review and Apple Podcasts if you wish it will help boost the podcast algorithm. Please drop a subscribe on YouTube. Hopefully we can get to 30 subscribers. That would be good. But yeah, welcome Centurion. It's been a while. How you doing?
I'm doing good, man. It's actually, yeah, it has been a while. We've all been doing crazy things. We all had to deal with a few situations. I think you even had to get a little bit of surgery yourself. We've
Yeah,
been just
I did.
relaxing through the month of March. It's all a blur, but man, here it is, April. It's time to start kicking this off, doing this regularly. It is time for plastic platforms, and now it's time for fun gaming, and this time a little bit of WrestleMania.
Yeah, definitely. Um, so what you been up to then? You been doing any
Um,
gaming?
I discovered a new addictive drug referred to as Lego Star Wars: The Skywalker Saga. I was going to try to transition into playing what is it? Horizon Forbidden West, and then all of a sudden I got a message on Xbox that the game had came out. It always had caught my eye. ACG gave it an amazing review on YouTube. Also, I've heard a lot of people talking about it in social media, a couple internet articles, and at that point I was sold. And I would have to say I'm actually rather impressed. I'm genuinely having fun, and this is definitely the most polished definitely the most polished graphically great looking Lego game that I have played. And trust me, I've played a fair amount of them. I mean, I just recently played the Lego Hobbit game, and oh my god, dude, that
Oh,
game,
nice.
I'm not trying to be mean, but that game is bad. That game was nothing but a money grab. And yeah, the Lego Hobbit game, I definitely will say the controls didn't work right. I did not enjoy how the game was designed. I mean, it really stinks because I had high hopes for that Lego game. So it's really good to see that they didn't botch this one with a really good franchise like the Star Wars franchise.
I've only ever played one. They gave out a free game during the height of the pandemic. It was called Lego Ninja something, and it was free to all PlayStation, Xbox, etc. I grabbed that, and I've only ever gave it a little go, and it's fun, but we've never really gave them a good enough go. But Lego
Lego
Star
games are
Wars
like,
probably, yeah, it's I don't know. I always thought they were kids' games, but clearly they're not by what you're telling me and a load of other people I've been
well,
seeing. But they are saying this new one, although this you always get a bit of hate. From what I gather, this is one of the best ones that they've ever made. That's what they're saying. Don't quote me on that though, because I don't know anything. But
I would like to say that they did, in my opinion, they did something I have yet to see in any other Star Wars game. Don't get me wrong. I've played Knights of the Old Republic, what is it? Republic Commando, all the stuff that was available on the OG Xbox. I've been playing Star Wars games for a while. And in this game, they actually have the galaxy map, and you don't, as you go to each planet in the game, it starts unlocking them in the galaxy map, and you start seeing where each planet fits in the galaxy that Star Wars takes place in.
yeah,
I've never
okay.
seen it done on that level. It's always been, like a list or icons of, oh, travel here, travel there. It's never been the actual, like, we all see R2D2 actually display the galaxy in what is it, The Force Awakens, when they're looking for Luke Skywalker, and he puts up the grid of the galaxy and you see all the different quadrants. That's technically, in my opinion, one of the first times you ever really see the actual galaxy map for where their world takes place in. And Lego Star Wars has actually taken that, and now they're putting the planets into perspective of where they fall in that map, which I thought was really cool.
It does sound very good. Lego Star Wars does. Yeah, I think it'll be something I might have to try at some point when it comes on sale. Probably it will because can't exactly afford that at the minute. But it
Oh,
does look good. And it's getting the reviews it clearly deserves.
Now, let me point out one thing, because you actually mentioned purchasing it. The funny part is about they did something with this game that I totally was not going to be aware of the way it was, but I bought the deluxe version of the game because I wanted to be able to play as the Mandalorian and a couple of the other DLC characters that came with it. But I did not know that by having this Mandalorian character, you see in the game, you have different classes of characters. The Mandalorian classifies as a bounty hunter. Han Solo's a scoundrel. Basically, Darth Maul's a Sith. They break it down. And by basically having access to a bounty, like, because you paid for the season pass and you get these characters, they're available to you right off the rip as you start the game. The very first mission, if you're in the free play, you can use them. Now, the Mandalorian has a grapple shot. In the game, you don't receive a character with a grapple shot until probably a few missions after the first campaign. And by having access to these DLC characters, you're actually able to go through and do collectibles that you would not be able to normally do without having access to these characters. You would have to play the game and actually acquire characters that would have these abilities to actually go and collect the what they call them Kyber bricks, because you have to upgrade everything in the game with Kyber bricks. And yeah, basically I almost jokingly thought in my head, I was like, wow, this is almost like pay to win, because I bought the season pass to get access to the expansions, and now I'm finding out by having these characters, I'm able to basically play the game quicker and funner. It did change my experience in the game. I don't know how to feel about that.
It's
like, don't get me wrong, it's great. It's only a single player experience.
Yeah,
but still, it is what it is. Like,
it's still value for money, though.
It is the value for the money, but it's the concept of, like, imagine I buy the deluxe version, you buy the regular version, and my experience is completely fundamentally different because I chose to spend the extra money. And that's where it's just like, I don't really know if I want gaming companies to actually really to fully embrace that idea. Like, I want, it's cool that I had these characters, but I didn't know that it was going to basically make it almost like a breeze to, because I mean, like the Mandalorian, his battle rifle has a 3-round burst to it, where the other characters, it's one shot and it's a lot slower. I mean, the Mandalorian is definitely OP compared to the other base characters that you get.
Yeah, I can see why you think that'd be like a pay to win situation. Bold Man Gamer, thanks for popping in. I know you got work at 6 a.m, but I appreciate you popping in, mate.
Yes, welcome.
He says, great to see you back live. Yes, we will try and be more consistent and more live, regular. Every 2 weeks we will, because I know we've not been very consistent recently, but we will try and fix that problem. We will, as it's a fun show to do. It is.
Real quick, if anybody hears any crazy noises like smashing, banging, and other fun stuff, they are literally tearing down a building 30, 40 feet from my window.
Wow. That's okay. Ballman Gamer, Centurion has heard the Nutella incident as well.
Oh, dude, that was great.
I sent it to him. There wasn't Ballman Gamer that done it. He was the one pointed out that's chocolate spread.
Dude,
that was Jacoby.
I'm telling you what. Oh my gosh. That one right. Satya Nutella. Yes.
But yeah, that was funny last night. But yes, I'm glad to hear you liking that game. And I've not been playing much Horizon Zero Dawn, but I'm not playing. I need to get back to playing games again. I do. But yes, absolutely hilarious. Yes, it was. Baldman Gamer. But
he's the owner of Microsoft, not Hazelnut Spread.
Yeah, no, that was so funny. Because like Baldman Gamer, he heard me go Nadella, and then he's like, and that's what set him off. It's chocolate spread. He went.
Well, it's also good to hear that they've got Nutella in Europe as well.
Oh yeah, we have playing games and not finishing them. Yes, that is my style. That is. That's what I do. Play games and not finish them. I'm going to
Hey, I
try and
got that
finish more.
from too.
Yeah, I'm going to try and finish more this year. But yes, we're going to have a little mention of the WrestleMania 38 that happened. What did you think to the? Did you watch the Hall of Fame, WWE Hall of Fame 2022?
So I'm gonna be honest. The Hall of Fame actual show took place Friday night. I missed the live event, and that is one thing because we all know the WWE network is on Peacock, at least here in the States, and I am not a fan of their interface. They hadn't at the time, they hadn't published it yet. I need to check now because the only thing they would show me were like clips and snippets. I had to kind of go
Really?
on. I had to go on and you watched some of the stuff like watching the Undertaker. That was definitely surreal
It was.
because I mean like
Yes.
I'm I'm 36 years old, man. I grew up watching that dude off and on, always hearing the Undertaker. He was the crazy guy at the time, the WWF, that could roll his eyes in the back of his head and make him look white. And oh my
Exactly.
god, boy, it was a thrill to try to explain that to my grandparents because my grandmother thought he was the devil, literally. Um but yeah, to
He
watch him
he had the
retiring.
he had the mystique. He did
Oh,
because
for real.
I watched the documentaries and from what he was saying, documentary and the Stone Cold interview and what. Well, obviously, from what he was saying, he's the only guy that is afforded the, you know how they all do the meet and greets, the charity dues, etc., everything. He's never done any of that to keep the mystique of his character alive.
Well,
That's
of
all part
course.
of it. But it's the stories he was telling in the retirement speech. It was like no one ever gets I think it must have been an hour or nearly an hour. No one ever gets that long to speak. But this is the Undertaker you're
Dude,
talking about.
Vince
Greatest
McMahon
wrestler in history.
himself came out of his hobbit hole to basically induct him into the Hall of Fame.
Yeah, but you say that, but he buggered off quite quickly. Did you notice that? He buggered off because he was probably too upset, but he wasn't there long, was he? Shook his hand and that, and he didn't. I thought he was going to stay for a bit longer, but he didn't.
Can we
But
really
to be,
say,
to,
because we're talking about an 80-some-year-old man, if I'm right, by his age?
yeah, yeah, but he is. But I don't think it was that. I think it was more that when you see the relationship between Undertaker and Vince, it was probably because of the fact that it's upsetting. Because if you notice
Oh,
how did you see Vince's eyes were full of tears?
well, yeah.
They
Like,
were, yeah.
if
Because
to
that's
understand it,
probably, yeah,
he was Vince McMahon's or the WWE's Sting.
yeah,
He was that loyal, just died in the wool. It's in my blood. I am here to stay in the WWE. And no matter how much money gets thrown at me, this is my home. And that's pretty much the way Sting felt until he exhausted all options and wanted to be in wrestling and decided to just come over for a few months to the WWE just to get some screen time. But I mean, like, dude, freaking, he like the Undertaker was like the company man for sure.
yeah, yeah. He definitely was. Yeah. Some of the story, like he could, from what I understand, he could tell podcast upon podcast and write books upon books of stories. And the stuff he can't mention, he says, because he says, obviously, there's a lot of stories he couldn't tell, but he says, we're a different world now we're in. You've got to be careful what you say. But he told, like, at one point, he reckons he was on the tour for 8 years, where he'd only go home for one day and then be gone again. And like he was talking about, because it was weird, because obviously you you seen him more as like Mark there, didn't you? And not Undertaker. You see, because you never got to see that he was always in character, weren't he? He wasn't like the man Mark. It was more Undertaker.
Well,
And
that
there, when he was talking, you could see he was actually like a nice guy, human, and that. And it was good to see because that's when you know it's finally over. But that fucking Undertaker at the end, I knew he'd do it. You know what I'm talking about, don't you?
Oh yeah, and that's where
Never
so
say never.
if you watch, I've only watched a little bit of the first episode because me and my wife need to sit down and watch it. But Young Rock, you'd probably be able to watch it on. I don't know if they have it on Peacock over there, but it's a show called Young Rock where it's
I've seen
literally
advertised.
yes. I'm gonna be upfront. It's very funny. I watched the first episode. And like in the very first episode, you actually see the Rock as a kid stealing, and they like he's also narrating it. So they brought it over, and they're like, "Oh my God, you're gonna show the youth of America that you were a thief?" He's like, "I have nothing to hide. I want people to know where I came from and what it was like to live like me." And it really does show like he didn't have like this great glorious life. I mean, like there was times his dad, even though in wrestling they were scraping by, and his dad was actually sometimes broke. But his dad taught him one fundamental thing: you are the gimmick. Whatever your gimmick is, whatever it may be, like for the Undertaker, he is the dead man.
Yeah.
That gimmick becomes your life. You live that gimmick because you can't let that gimmick down for 1 second, because then people will begin to doubt you because they'll see that you're two different people. When you are the gimmick, they'll be like, "Oh no, that's really him." And that's one of the things of the Undertaker was he really did live that gimmick. I mean, he was the dead man. He was the American badass. He was the what other did they I mean, like he led a cult in the WWE. He reinvented himself as the American badass, as a biker. I mean, like we have seen so many different versions of the Undertaker, but it was always that that edgy, just hardcore, aggressive, I'm gonna just knock someone out kind of character.
Yeah, it is. It is a shame though. He never got to Percy Pringle never got to see him be inducted, isn't it?
Oh, you mean oh my God, Paul Bear?
Yeah, Paul Bearer. It's a
Right.
shame, isn't it? It is. He's a legend. He is. He made, because he obviously mentioned him when he's in the retirement speech.
Well, it's good to see
I'm
Governor
sure. I'm
Kane was
sure he
there.
did. Yeah, the mayor Kane was there. Yeah, he was.
Dude, to sit there and dude, could you imagine back in the Big Red Machine days with the red 4-corner torches on the ring posts, walking down the ring wearing the mask? Could you imagine just back in the day looking at somebody and be like, "That guy right there, he's gonna be governor one day." People think you're freaking nuts.
It's true. It's pretty mental. It's like because they have this. Kane could have reached the heights of Undertaker if they allowed him to, but they never allowed him to. They never kept him in character. They kept mucking around his character, taking his mask off. It's like when they revealed Kane's mask first. I mean, he was supposed to have a burnt off face. I know it's not real, but
I
they
know it's the
painted on
story.
a little bit of smoke on his face, and that was it.
Oh, dude, but to understand also Kane, oh my God, Dr. T Dental or whatever, he was the dentist character from like the 90s.
Yeah.
So he's gone through different characters. Kane was definitely the one that was the most successful, and for sure if they would have embraced that, it just I could only but you gotta it is interesting though that in the WWE you can't mention the Brothers of Destruction without bringing up Kane and the Undertaker in the conversation. And you know that's something you could never ever have a more iconic tag team other than the brothers. You know, you had the Brothers of Destruction. The only other thing that could probably maybe hold up, but you would have to really find people that knew wrestling, would be the Rock and Sock Connection. You at least hopefully know what I'm talking about, right?
Yes, I do.
Okay,
yeah.
okay.
Yeah, I do. Yeah. But yeah, it's because he did in his retirement. I can't remember what I'm remembering from his interviews and what I remember from his speech, but he brought Kane up as well. He was talking to Kane, But what confused me is like when he spoke to Triple H, is it because he was that emotionally, sad that Taker was retiring and that he was about to announce that he was retiring as well in the ring at Mania? Because he never responded to Taker. He just sat there and was crying. Do you know what I mean? Did you notice that? Is that because he was just
That
too
was one of the
upset?
clips I saw, and I know Undertaker
I think
mentioned
he
him,
was
and he just
just.
stared at him.
I think he was because he can talk because he came in the ring next day and talked at Mania. But I think that he
Well,
must have been so emotionally upset.
he came in on Sunday and talked.
That was it.
The
Sorry, the Sunday. Yeah.
Yeah, the Hall of Fame was Friday night. Then Saturday night, Stephanie came out, and Sunday night it was actually kicked off by Triple H.
It was.
And it was very saddening to see him come down there and did literally his whole speech was, "I'm going to show you love the only way I know how." And he screamed that out and got everybody hyped up for the show, left his boots in the middle of the ring and walked out. I thought he was going to have this big old grandiose speech, and then all of a sudden it was just like, boom, done. And I was like,
Yeah.
wow, he is tore up. Triple H is tore up. He is speechless.
Yeah. It's a shame to see because when you think about it, I can't remember which WrestleMania it was, but there was the WrestleMania where, hang on, Triple H versus Undertaker with Shawn Michaels as the special referee, and all three of them are now done, retired.
Yes,
they are
legends
of the business.
The Undertaker won, and Shawn Michaels and the Undertaker helped carry off Triple H. The three of them basically carried because even Shawn Michaels, the referee, got involved in that match. That was a pretty good match, especially for a WrestleMania moment. And the three of them carried each other off, all in arms. And now the fact that all of them are definitely retired. But we got to see Shawn Michaels retire the way he kind of wanted to. We saw the Undertaker get to retire the way he wanted to. Regretfully, just to be brutally honest, I'm pretty sure Triple H feels the same way, that what happened to him has basically in a way stripped him of having that moment that the way he would want it to. Because I know for Triple H, there would always be that one more match. He would be pretty much in that ring, as long as they said he could get in that ring, they would. And then obviously what went down, I don't know if people keep up or what the real story is, but at least from what I've read, Triple H suffers from a heart condition now. And I've even read somewhere that they even installed, I think it was it was either a pacemaker or a defibrillator, but they put something in his heart.
It's a pacemaker.
Right.
See, the pacemaker is a defibrillator. You see,
right.
It can. My brother-in-law's got one. He manages to lead a healthy life. He does lorry driving for a living.
Well, that's the only thing. But when he ain't in the ring doing flips
no, he's not. No.
And all that other stuff.
But so yeah, it's you can call it a defibrillator, but the name is pacemaker. But in America, guys might call them just defibrillators.
I've heard them called both.
Yeah. Okay.
It just, for me, it was where it depends on where the article, because there's a lot of places that cover wrestling news worldwide.
Oh, you got to watch that stuff. You have.
Yes, and that's where one article will say defibrillator, another one will say pacemaker.
Exactly. You're right there. You are, but it's a shame. It is. It's. But then again, do you remember when? This is what gets me. Do you remember when? I remember this back years ago when that thing happened to Edge, and he was told he could no longer wrestle again. His career was taken off him. He was then inducted into the Hall of Fame. He was never to wrestle again. Then 2 years ago, he came back and he can wrestle. I'm bloody confused. I'm also confused about Stone Cold. Stone Cold 19 years, and he was taking bumps at WrestleMania, and he was also one that said, I can't wrestle. I
So
can't take bumps because Stone Cold had a surgery, yeah, but the surgery that Edge had was more, a newer technique. But I'm just very confused about how them two can suddenly wrestle and
so
take bumps with their broken the surgeries they've had.
well,
You
for
could probably
starters,
know, mate.
let's look at for starters that these guys ain't hammering out Friday, Monday, Friday nights and pay-per-views. These guys literally hit like hey, I do pay-per-views only. Like, look at Brock Lesnar. I can't even tell you the last time I saw that dude actually in a sanctioned match on on TV outside of a pay-per-view. So
Okay.
yeah, there is those
Yeah.
guys that they hook them up with more experienced wrestlers that definitely won't injure you, because like big case in point, WCW era, Bret Hart, when he basically got in a wrestling match with Goldberg. Goldberg was a very aggressive wrestler, but he was also very inexperienced because of WCW's training regimen and how fast they pushed him through their training regimen. So that's why with Goldberg you only had two moves: jackknife power
Yeah,
bomb,
Goldberg can't.
and spear.
Yeah, but
Huh?
Goldberg, that's one wrestler I don't respect. He's
See
never
that?
wrestled.
See, that's the only thing.
He
Well, he wrestles more now for the WWE
yeah, he
because
does,
they
but
trained him.
his whole career was basically based off running in the ring, bang bang, pin, gone. That was his whole
Exactly.
career.
And that was his whole career. And that was also a result of their lack of training for him. They
I agree,
always were.
but
And now because of that, in like the first match that you ever see Bret Hart and Goldberg go on a match, right off, like within the first couple seconds of the match, Goldberg injured Bret Hart, basically like doing something to his, like, I think it was like his leg or his shoulder, basically tearing the muscle from the bone. And it was all because of Goldberg's style. And the funny part is, like, in the interview watching it with Bret Hart, he even was like, if you watch my lips at the beginning of that match, and then you actually watch him, and he actually looks Goldberg in the face and he says, please don't hurt me. And right off the rip, Goldberg hurts him. So
yeah,
that's where they put him in these matches, to basically be with more experienced wrestlers, because an experienced wrestler knows how to cradle somebody, knows how to land, knows how to basically knows what the other person is capable of. But now let's rewind time, because technically Shawn Michaels also went through a crippling injury that retired him, and even he came back, and he actually went for a second run in wrestling entertainment as a different Shawn Michaels. He was still the Heartbreak Kid, but when he came back, he had found his faith with God, and he was a totally different character. And that's where, that in an interview with him, he explained that when he injured his back, like when he broke his back and all this other stuff, the injuries that he sustained were associated with at the time, with the medical knowledge that was available to him in the late 80s, early 90s. He had injuries that were only seen in a 60-some-year-old man. They had never seen somebody like Shawn Michaels in his age, still in the prime youth of his life, with these injuries before. They had only seen them in very rare cases. So basically they treated it like a 60-some-year-old man. They're like, yeah, he's done for. He is done. Well, yeah, a person in their late 60s, a person in their 60s is not going to go out and start wrestling. That's for sure. So I will definitely, from some of the interviews I've listened to and the wrestlers talking about it, the medical knowledge back then that was afforded to them was very archaic, dark ages. They didn't really know what some of these procedures were going to do. They didn't really know if people could recover from some of this stuff, because, let's face it, wrestling entertainment, it's not like people have been doing it for hundreds and hundreds of years. There's still things that are unknown. So that's why it's interesting when we see somebody who is like, this dude is not able to come back, and obviously a new technique, or just by sheer fact that they didn't think the human body was capable of healing. But, like, some of these guys are pretty strong dudes, or they're willing to do whatever it takes to try to heal. And yeah, in certain instances with like Edge, Stone Cold Steve Austin is kind of a rarity. You know, he doesn't really wrestle too much. I mean, he comes out and gives people stunners. And Edge, Daniel Bryan, there's definitely a lot of dudes that you could probably name that you know, it's good to see that they're still able to do what they're passionate about. And
Yeah.
you know,
Right.
that's why I'm thinking it's still, the human body is still a lot there to be discovered. And even the WWE medical officials are still discovering what the human body can actually heal. Yep.
Yeah, that's yeah. Well, if you watch the Undertaker stuff, you'll realise the stuff that he said. Like, there was one situation where Undertaker was holding his arm up to a surgeon, the top surgeon in America. I can't remember his name. And they said to him, this guy says, "So can you hold your arm up? Can you hold it any further?" And he was like, "Yeah, no problem." So he was looking at him, and Undertaker was going, what's your problem? There's no medical reason why you can do that. He says you shouldn't be able to even lift your arm. He says you've trained your body to do that because it should be hurting. You shouldn't be able to move it. And they fixed the problem, but he said that your pain threshold is through the roof because your body should not be like, he said, lift your arm. He says your arm shouldn't even be able to move slightly. Even it should be. It was his shoulder, or I can't remember what it was, but it was something. Because he's had like 20 plus surgeries to take him out in his time. And they said, you shouldn't be able to move your arm up like that. But you've trained your body, you've got such a high pain threshold just to carry on. There's no medical reason why I can tell you why you can do that, apart from the fact that you've trained your body to do that. You know, that. But yeah, so you are right. There's still
Part
a
of why
long way away.
it's part of why I watch wrestling. I understand it's fake. I understand it can be like a soap opera at times. Other times it can be real cringe. Oh my God, there's times even I cringe and I'm alone in my own living room. There's, you know, I mean, like it has its highs and its lows, but it's entertaining, but it also shows what happens when you have an individual who is passionate about what they do. And you know, if going down to a ring and jumping around and doing all this crazy stuff, and you know, at the end of the day, this is still some pretty physical activity that injures you, and in some instances could really cripple you. I mean, like Big E Langston, I don't know if you heard, but Big E Langston, I think may have broken his neck.
Yeah.
And
now, I hate to ask this question, and I'm probably stupid. Is that a work or is that real?
I think it's real because I mean,
I don't think they do that anymore. Do WWE do they do fake injuries anymore or not?
I don't know. They'll
They'll
fake an injury to get somebody some like off time.
Yeah.
Like, oh, someone needs to go on vacation. They ruptured their knee.
What's that guy? He does the big podcast now.
He was Pat McAfee.
He went. I haven't watched the interview yet, but Big E was on there, or Kofi was on there talking about Big E's broken neck. So it must be true.
I think and that's where I'm worried, because Big E was getting some stride on his career. He had already gotten a belt. I mean, dude, I can't believe that. So that's where people there is an inherent danger to what these people do. And I guess that's what makes me love watching wrestling. And it's not because I'm like bloodthirsty, but I mean, like, it's crazy to watch people. I mean, like, I'll never forget the day I've watched Big Show take somebody when Tough Enough was on MTV, when they had that reality show where everybody could compete for a WWE contract, Tough Enough. And the first, like on day one, they walk him into the ring and they had all the dudes take their shirts off, and they got in the ring with the Big Show, and the Big Show would take that big old like frying pan size hand of his and chest slap him. Like, you know how the Big Show would like quiet the crowd down, and he would hit people in the chest, and like they have that clap off their chest. And Oh my
Oh
God, dude.
yes.
Watching him do that to people, he's like, I want people to know how real this is on the first day because I don't want them to think that this is all fake and nobody gets hurt. He's like, you're gonna get in the ring with the Big Show, and he's gonna do that to you right now. And like these dudes, like that's when it got serious real quick. And I'm like, oh
Yeah,
my
it
God,
would, yeah.
I don't even know if I'd want to let the Big Show do that to me.
Yeah, that would definitely because they always go, yeah, it's fake and all that, but some of the stuff that just hurt.
Oh
Because
yeah.
obviously, when you do them, even when you do them slams,
Oh
the
yeah.
wrestlers are just used to it. It must hurt, but they're just used to it. You see,
Dude, I
they
would.
do it. They do it in the correct manner, but it must hurt.
Oh,
Do you know what
dude.
I mean?
I watched Shayna Baszler run up on oh my God. Oh my God. The chick from over in Japan. She wears the masks.
Oh, can't remember her name. Oh, now I know. I know who you mean.
At any rate,
Oscar. Is that it?
Oscar.
Oscar?
Yeah,
That's it.
Oscar was on the
Oscar. Yeah.
ground. She was like in some kind of like maneuver where they were trying to get her to tap out. And I don't Shayna Baszler runs up and kicks her square in the face. And you watch Oscar's teeth just fly off, and you're like, oh my God. Oh my God. Or when Cesaro tried to like do some kind of move where he jumped over somebody and he landed on like the top of his top teeth. His mouth was open. His top teeth went square onto the ring post, the top of the ring post, and you watch his teeth just shatter because like literally bit the top of the ring post. Oh my God.
Wow. It's crazy. It's some of the how some of this stuff happens. But
Oh
yeah,
yeah.
it's fake.
Oh, dude, that's actually
Yeah.
one of the more. That's one of the more. Do you remember the campaign from during the Attitude Era, with where they everybody was calling wrestling fake, and they had this commercial that would play where it would have Stone Cold, The Rock, Mankind, the Undertaker, all the big guys at the time, basically standing there, outlining the different injuries that they've sustained in their careers already, and like at the end of it's like, yep, this is fake.
Yeah. But yeah, it is crazy. It is how it's entertaining. People wonder why I've only just literally got back into watching it since I had a bit of a break, and I'm still trying to get back into it because I thought John Cena would be there for life, and now I find out because I don't watch movies. I found out he's a big Hollywood star and he's gone.
He chased
Do
The
you know what I
Rock. He made fun of The Rock back in the day for going Hollywood, and John Cena freaking hopped in that same taxi.
Oh, he could see the money. But
Oh,
yeah, I didn't realise. Apparently, he was last there about two or 3 years ago, and he had a run at Mania with somebody.
mm-hmm. Yep.
That was the last time he did something. But I was looking at why he wasn't there at the Hall of Fame because I thought he would be there, and apparently the reason he weren't there to see Taker be inducted was because he was filming a new Fast and Furious film. Apparently. And he's
That's
not
gonna
with
be
a Bella. He's not with Nikki Bella either. He's married. He's married and got. I think he's got a child now. And that.
I think so too. Yeah.
I
Yeah.
didn't know any of this because I always seen John Cena as a company guy. I thought he'd be there until the dying end, but obviously you see the
Well,
money trail in the movies, even though he took the piss out of the Rock.
I don't. So that's the only thing. Like I've been watching. I don't want now. Here's the thing. I don't want people to think like, oh, it's Monday night, time to turn on wrestling. No, I have my DVR catch it when I build videos for YouTube or if I'm cleaning my house or stuff like that. I've got wrestling on because it's something that, oh, it's getting good. I'll pay attention. Oh, it's getting really cringe. I'm going to go do some dishes. It's one of those things, kind of like
Yeah.
what you do when you go in the stadium. When you have one of those cringe moments when you're actually at the live event, you're like, all right, I'm going to go get some popcorn, use the bathroom. I'll be back. And you leave your seat and you come back when it gets interesting. That's pretty much how it works in the stadium. And so where was I going with this? I've been watching I want to say steadily since about 2013 that way. And that's purely because what happened, I watched the Attitude Era and I died off because we all know that the WCW versus WWE thing was never going to hop off. And I got out just before the NWO came to the WWE. And so from that point forward to 2013, I hadn't watched, and we had the Royal Rumble out here. The Rock was out here hyping it. I'm a big fan of The Rock, and it got me, I'm going to go watch some wrestling and tune into the Royal Rumble. And it was pretty much a bug that stuck with me. Now back in, me and my wife were talking about it the other night, man, 2013, that was a damn good era to jump back in. We had John Cena, we had The Rock, we had CM Punk. Daniel Bryan was just getting his stride because he was still on Team Hell No with Kane. I mean, it like literally it was actually a good time to tune in. I had actually got to see the birth of the Shield. Like that was what hooked me, was the Shield. Dean Ambrose, Roman Reigns, Seth Rollins, loved watching those three guys work together. And so definitely I have stuck with it, and it has been a really good experience to watch. Just as, to watch people just stick with it. Now with John Cena, dude, I want to say nobody really, he was more of the guy for the box of Fruity Pebbles. And I mean, he really hit it off with the young crowd, but with the older crowd, they were all played out. It was also the big problem that The Rock had during his first stint as Rocky Maivia. And basically they had him coming out as the company man, like, oh, come hell or high water, I'll get it done, boss, don't worry. And it didn't work out for The Rock, which made him come back as, well, it didn't work out as Rocky Maivia, and he came back as The Rock under the Nation of Domination, and he had that chip on his shoulder, and they made him a very aggressive, character. John Cena never wanted to have that aggressive. He always wanted to be the good guy. And that's where it got really to the point where, I mean, like, John Cena could not come out on stage without the crowd singing John Cena Sucks to his theme song. So, I mean, I could probably see why he went to go Hollywood, because let's just face it, towards the end of his stint at the WWE, it was almost like a joke. Like, he would acknowledge the fact that the crowd would say he would say that he sucked, and he would just like feed into it.
Okay, because I missed that whole period. I didn't realize. So that's probably why he made the move then, maybe.
There.
No, but I've learned something there. Welcome to What Just Happened. Thanks for popping in.
It is interesting to watch John Cena go down that road, though. I actually do, and I enjoyed watching him in the latest Fast and the Furious, whatever number it is, Fast 9.
I have no idea. I'm not watching
it's Fast 9 because they want to do 10, and the 10th one is the one they're working on now that The Rock says he won't do because he doesn't like Vin Diesel.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, like Vin Diesel tried to reach out to The Rock, hey, let's bury the hatchet, and The Rock was like, nah. And then Vin Diesel then, I guess, did a 180 and talked trash anyways, and basically just reinvigorated, I guess, the whole situation between him and The Rock. So yeah, The Rock is definitely not going to be in the final Fast and the Furious movie, but I guess between Vin Diesel and Paul Walker, they had basically a pact to do 10 movies. And he wants to finish it off with 10 movies, which is why I've heard rumors that they're trying to involve Paul Walker's brother because he looks kind of similar to him. And now with CG effects getting the way it is in Hollywood, I've heard rumors they're going to try to bring Paul Walker. They're going to try to bring Paul Walker back to life in this Fast and the Furious movie. I don't know. I could be wrong, but it doesn't shock me because, I mean, if we look at Star Wars Rogue One, the Governor Tarkin, that guy literally, was modeled after the original Governor Tarkin from the original Star Wars movie in the 70s. So obviously there'd be no way for that guy to be alive for a movie in, the early 2000s. And so they used CG, and I mean, they made him look exactly like that movie. It was really creepy.
It's pretty crazy. It's mental.
Now we're just ADDing it on the Fast and the Furious. But what was your highlights for WrestleMania? Because you're new to this whole thing. I'm actually excited. You know, I don't chat about wrestling too much with anybody because I like it's like one of those things like you watch wrestling. Yeah, no, but definitely.
So the thing is, it's weird because obviously when we were talking before, you said this. They now do night 1 and night 2. So my view is night 1 was the highlight. Night 2 wasn't very good. As a whole, I think a lot of their big matches they should have put into night 2 and balanced them out because on night 1, the match between Becky Lynch and Bianca Bella, that was fire. That was really bloody good.
Right.
Me and my wife really enjoyed that because she watched all of it with me too. And
it almost felt like they separated it into Saturday night is the
main night, if you ask me.
Well, not only that, but it was like Saturday night was all the main female fights, and Sunday night was all the male nights, and so it's really good to see the female division killing it because I actually agree with you. Saturday night was actually a good night to watch.
And then there was Charlotte Flair and hang on, what's her name?
Charlotte Flair and Ronda Rousey.
That's it. That was a very good match too. Although I wanted Ronda Rousey to win.
I did too.
I was quite annoyed. I was like, do you know what I mean? But they were good. Both good matches.
Company man, mark my words, company man, Charlotte Flair, or company woman.
Oh yeah.
Dude, I mean, they have, I've read articles where literally she chose the WWE over her dad.
Really?
Well, okay. I think there was a time, I don't know about now, I could be wrong, but there is a time where Ric Flair was at odds with Vince McMahon and the WWE, and basically in the middle of it all, Charlotte Flair basically chose the WWE side.
Wow. That's interesting. That's very interesting, that is. But no, their matches were very good for the women. I was very impressed because it seemed to me like, because I don't actually like the Bianca Bella because I think it's very cheesy in that hair. But I was disappointed how Becky, and I wanted her to cut it off during the match.
She tried on, I think it was Monday night. Monday or Friday night, Becky Lynch tried, and
is that actually her hair, or was that an extension just put on?
What Bianca Belair?
Yeah, that's her hair. That's her hair. I didn't know. I couldn't tell.
That thing's every time I've seen her, she's had it on her. So either she really lives the gimmick and has an extension on her 24/7, or that's really her hair.
Probably her hair then, but that's the thing is if they cut it off, that off, she's lost a gimmick. So I don't think they're going to allow that.
And see, that's the only thing that is true. It is a little bit of a gimmick, but also at the same time, though, I mean, Bianca Belair, track and field star, awards in track and field, if I'm correct. She's also married to one of the, I think they're, oh my God. They're the guys that come out with the red Solo cups.
I don't know. No idea.
I want to call them I don't want to say the primetime. At any rate, yeah, the Street Profits. That's their name, the Street Profits. She's married to the taller guy of the Street Profits. And so, yeah, Bianca Belair is already like ingrained in the industry. I mean, she's built her life around it, even married someone else in the industry. And dude, I mean, that match with Becky Lynch, though, tune in to Monday Night Raw. Like, if you can find it on Hulu or whatever, or go on YouTube.
I need to find it.
Dude, watch it on YouTube because she comes out, Bianca Belair comes out to the ring with this big old pair of glasses on. And the first thing she does when she gets the microphone and takes them off, and she has got one hell of a black eye. A legit black eye, dude. Like, wow. She could barely open that thing. So definitely Becky Lynch gave her a black eye.
Yeah, no, that was definitely two fun matches, and there was the Usos against Shinsuke Nakamura and Rick Booge, but I don't really like the tag. It looks to me, correct me if I'm wrong, but these tag teams in this match, Usos are obviously been established for a long time.
Yes.
But have Shinsuke Nakamura and Rick Booge just been put together just for the sake of Mania?
So no,
new?
they've been together for a
No.
while. They've been together for a while. Rick Booge
okay.
actually comes out and plays guitar solos, or at least me and my wife, we debate. We're not sure whether or not he's literally playing this guitar solo or not.
He is not playing that guitar because at Mania, right? He was walking down and he was still playing it while he was climbing into the ring while not holding while not playing.
So what I think he's capable of doing it if they need him to, but I don't know. But Rick Booge, I will definitely say is, oh my gosh, the two, it felt like a shoe-in match. I will definitely say that really what's happening now is I think it's like 3 weeks at WrestleMania Backlash, we're actually going to have the RK Bro, which is Randy Orton and Matt Riddle. Now that was a very unusual combination that really took off. Even I think that they're a really great tag team and they make an awesome duo, and it's funny as hell.
Yeah, I agree. But what I don't like is, I mean, I don't like matches where there's 3 or 4 tag teams or there's too many wrestlers.
Oh yes,
I hate it, and I thought Randy Orton being in that match with his tag team partner shouldn't have happened because I hate it where they chuck them all. Because it seemed to me that Saturday night was the main events. That basically most of them matches were like as they should be.
Well, if you
2
look,
tag teams versus. Then the Sunday night, it's like they chuck loads of teams together to have loads of matches.
So
filler to me.
I think the reason why they made their tag team matches very lackluster is, well, we saw on Sunday night the match between Brock Lesnar and Roman Reigns, where they unified the 2 titles. The company was so big before the pandemic that they had 2 titles. They had one on Monday night and one on Friday night, and the champion existed on that show. During the pandemic, it opens up another discussion, maybe not for today, but for another day. But during the pandemic, the WWE let go of a lot of talent. And we're not talking just screen use talent. We're also talking trainer talent and other behind the scenes talent that actually fundamentally helped shape the company into what it is today. Now the WWE is going a totally different direction. Just look at NXT and all the bright colors that they've thrown on it. Anyways, so, oh my God, now I just ADD'd it. What were we talking about? You there, bud?
I was talking about going. I was wondering about loads of tag teams are being thrown in, and you were saying the reason
the lackluster of the matches. Sorry, I didn't mean to go on that tangent. So they WWE Backlash, which is occurring in 3 weeks, they're actually unifying the tag teams.
Yeah.
So we're actually going to see the Usos versus Randy Orton and Matt Riddle. That's more of a match that I want to see, which is why people are like, well, why didn't we get that for WrestleMania? Because I've noticed they're unifying the titles. They're getting rid of all the extra belts, the unneeded belts. And they are definitely right now re-sculpting the company because it's a lot smaller than it once was from what the pandemic
is definitely. There is one guy that I think they never should have. They're one of the most talented wrestlers they got rid of. They got rid of Bray Wyatt. That guy is talent, and they released him. Bit confused as to why. Do you know? Because did you think Bray Wyatt was a talent? Because I do. Bray Wyatt was great.
Bray Wyatt was.
There's rumors about that, and a few people have told me it's got. It might be made up because you know what these rumor sites are like, but it's Brock. Not Brock. Sorry. What's his name?
Braun Strowman.
No, not him. What's the one we were just talking about? The
Bray
in
Wyatt.
WCW,
Oh wait,
yeah,
Goldberg.
Bray Wyatt. There's rumors that Goldberg's being blamed for Bray Wyatt's release. I don't know why. Something happened between them. Next thing you know, he got released. I don't know. It's probably not true.
Well, that's
It's
the only
not.
thing. The Goldberg and Bray Wyatt thing, I want to say occurred because the funny part is 2020 is when everything shut down in March of
Yes, it is.
2020. And on February 22nd, 2020, me and my wife went to Friday Night SmackDown, and I almost literally ran into Bill Goldberg as I was coming out of the men's bathroom. Like I nearly ran into him and his security. He stopped for a second to take an autograph with a little boy that was right there in a photo. I wasn't going to get my phone out and get a picture of Bill Goldberg with a random little boy. That would just like be strange. So I was just like, you know what? I'm going to just mentally keep this moment that I nearly ran into Bill Goldberg. But yeah, that's where Bill Goldberg and Bray Wyatt was about February of 2020. And the last time I saw Bray Wyatt, I think was actually around WrestleMania of 2021, where they had like Alexa Bliss awkwardly come out and like somehow she's like his master and commander queen all of a sudden. I have no idea what direction they were trying to go with Alexa Bliss. People did not like it because they wanted Bray Wyatt to be Bray Wyatt. They didn't want him to be some drone that follows around Alexa Bliss. And I just like I think his contract ran up, and I know there was also I had heard rumors that Bray Wyatt at the time was married to one of the I don't want to say the announcers, but it was one of the chicks that would do the interviews in the back.
Okay.
He was married to her, and I had read an article that basically the WWE had basically drove a wedge in their marriage, and they had separated because of the WWE. I think Bray Wyatt really ran his contract out, and what's really interesting is I remember when Bray Wyatt's contract ran out, or for whatever reason he just didn't re-sign with the WWE. Everybody thought he was AEW bound. And now you actually see him, Braun Strowman, and Eric Rowan, the Wyatt family originally. Rest in peace, Luke Harper, because he passed away.
Oh,
You didn't know that?
did it? No.
Oh, dude, a couple years ago,
Damn.
yeah, Luke Harper passed away.
That's crazy, man.
Yeah, not the guy with the red beard.
Good.
The guy with the red beard is Eric Rowan. The guy with the black beard, that's Luke Harper, and yes, he passed
No,
away. Rest in peace.
I remember who he was. Yeah.
But it's good. So yeah, I've seen photos of the three of them posing as the Wyatt family, but the sad part is they can't exactly call themselves the Wyatt family.
No,
The news articles are saying old men, like the original members of the Wyatt family have gotten together, and then they give them like their names, like their actual names.
Yeah.
But they're actually going to these smaller independent wrestling venues. Like nothing's televised, it's only talked about, it's mainly live events. And I guess they're making appearances as the Wyatt family. He definitely is trying to stay to what he loves, but he's definitely keeping it very small. And I wish I could definitely kind of like pick his brain a little bit and be like, dude, you could probably go to AEW right now, probably get a lot of money, and you'd probably also have a lot more freedom, creative freedom with your character than you probably have at the WWE. And it would be more interesting to find out, to know if why he hasn't exactly done that.
Yeah, it's a hard one to know, but just
Same with Braun Strowman.
Just point out someone in the chat what just happened that put my dad took me to WWF event back in the day. It was cool seeing Jake the Snake. I bet that was cool. Definitely. But yeah, so you're on about Braun Strowman, and he was a big dude. Because they go on about, because the thing is, they go on about what was it? The Stone Cold interview with Taker. No, sorry, it was Joe Rogan with Undertaker, and like and like Joe Rogan was on about like testing and steroids and that. And he said it's very, and then Taker says it's very serious. They take drug testing seriously, but he says it's random. He's, what do you mean? So he showed him Braun Strowman. He says, nah. He says, Joe Rogan goes, no, there's no way he's natural. Well, and then Taker says that they don't let you take anything unless you're allowed it. But he said it's erratic the way they test people. And he says, what do you mean? He says, well, I hadn't wrestled in a long time, being as in talking about Taker. And he says it got to the end of the year, and he says I wasn't even wrestling. I had to be tested. And he says within it's like you have to have 4 tests a year. We'd only had he had like 1 or 2, so he had to go in for a test. And like he got a call the next day, so he had like most of his steroid tests at the end of the year. So he says if you were to know when your tests were, you could definitely do it. You could pull it off. But it's knowing when, because like Joe Rogan was going, nah, there's no way that dude's just natural. Braun Strowman, you know, it's an old interview. When he was there, but he says no. He says I can't say for sure. He says a lot of the wrestlers ain't big anymore. But he says yeah, Braun Strowman does. There is big guys there. There is.
So
know,
the steroid thing, I know it exists in the WWE.
I believe it does.
I'm not going to mention names, point fingers, but there also happens to be a certain, in my opinion, a certain injury that seems to affect a lot of wrestlers that seems to be quite common with steroid use. Again, don't want to point fingers, but I don't know what other people got going on, but you know, it is what it is. But people with steroid that you have heavy use of steroids, they do have heart problems. And that's where I've noticed that with the WWE, a lot of these bigger guys that seem that they seem to have the same reoccurring injury where they have a heart problem or something. Like I said, I don't point fingers. I have no evidence to back it up. But if you want to really get insight into the steroid use of the WWE, there's one guy you can listen to. And every once in a while, I tuned into his stuff back in the day. He got cut from the WWE. I have one of his shirts from back in like 2013, 2014. Yeah. Very awesome wrestler. And I'm wondering if you're going to know his name, Ryback.
Oh, yeah. Ryback, yes.
Listen to Ryback's podcasts, and that guy will flat out tell you who he thinks is on steroids, and he'll tell you exactly why, because Ryback is a stone cold weightlifter. That dude enjoys living in the gym, and I'm not sure if he's ever done steroids, but he understands how steroids work, and he will flat out, like, I will never forget the day he made me laugh when I heard him say, you know, puffy nipples, and he was just sitting there pointing out one person. Like I said, I won't point out fingers, but now when I watch that wrestler wrestle, I look at that wrestler totally different, and I think Ryback is right. I think the guy was doing steroids, because he's like, dude, this guy was like a twig, and all of a sudden he shows up looking like a tree trunk, and then all of a sudden he's like, but when he takes his shirt off, he's like, the nipples are all puffy. He's like, dude, your nipples, blah blah blah, hormones. He's like, it's basically he used too many he didn't use steroids properly, so he basically has this weird thing going on with his body because of the hormones, and he's basically explaining why it looks that way. And that's why I was like, if you want to get insight to the WWE or any wrestling company and steroid use, listen to Ryback. That dude will completely change your mind on people.
I've just followed his podcast on Spotify. I didn't know it was still going. I used to watch it years ago. But Ryback.
Ryback, dude, wrestler. He owns a supplement company now. He got clipped from the WWE. He was like, all right, I'm done with wrestling. He went and started a supplement company and like gym accessory company, because I know like one of his things is like those back braces for powerlifting, and he does custom ones with his company logo on them and stuff. He really found a niche for himself, and he's just really happy where he's at, and he has no problem telling people the dark side of wrestling.
That's good. That is. We've gained a new subscriber.
Yay!
We have 25 subs now. Thanks to the new subscriber. I can't see who it is, but thanks. But yeah, no, Ryback. I mean, I like Ryback at the time.
Oh, dude, I've
And
got one of his "Feed Me More" shirts in my closet.
yeah, he was good. But I think there was more to it than probably just that.
Oh, dude, there was a lot. No, there was a lot of politics going on with Ryback.
No, but I think he was the kind of guy that would go and tell them if he had a problem straight in the office. I'm having them. Probably.
Oh no, Ryback was definitely a hothead. Oh, for sure,
Yeah.
Ryback was a hothead.
Yeah. But yeah, he was a good wrestler. He was.
You don't have that much testosterone flowing through your veins, and you don't have a temper. You know,
Exactly.
Look at what was it? Bill Goldberg, another one. Bill Goldberg was in the height of his, like, you know, pretty much they got some pretty good momentum on him. Everybody was you know, hyping up Bill Goldberg, and then he got into an argument with Kevin Nash behind the scenes at WCW, and went outside and started just blasting a limousine out in the parking lot with his bare fists. The WCW camera crew went out there and filmed him to do it, and they even used the footage in one of the shows. But that was actually Bill Goldberg legitimately tearing up a limousine because Kevin Nash had aggravated him. And you actually see Bill Goldberg walk up to one of these windows and just put his fist through the side glass, pulls his hand out, and you just see the slice up his hand. Dude basically cleaved one of the tendons in his hand and basically cost, I think it was like 6-9 months out of his career because of an emotionally made decision of punching out a window with his bare hands.
I think I've seen this one or heard about it. Was it ever seen?
They didn't capture the argument between Kevin Nash and Bill Goldberg. It had already taken place and Bill Goldberg was pissed, but the camera crew noticed that he was going out in the parking lot to do something. So they decided to follow him. And that's when he literally went out and just started like barehanded, just punching the windows out. Like he started punching out the windshield, the side windows. I mean, he was tearing this limo up, and he was legitimately doing this. But that's where what it is in the documentary that they were talking about this whole incident, filming it. They even said it was like he made an emotionally stupid decision that cost him 6 to 9 months out of his career. And when he came back, it was like the world was like, oh, the Bill Goldberg ship has come and sailed because you've been gone 6-9 months, and you know the NWO still runs king here.
Yeah, exactly. But yeah, on to night 2. The first match, I didn't really like that one. Arcade Bro and the Street Profits with Alpha Academy. The Raw Tag Team Champion. Now, don't get me wrong. RKO Bro looks good, but I just preferred it if they were probably be in a match, just 2 tag teams. I think it's too much chucking all these men in loads of them in there. And this Bobby Lashley match with Omos. Filler. Filler. That was a silly match. He was at the start of the match, he was struggling to get anywhere near him. And he manages to drop him to the floor, and then like it's over. That was literally, I don't even know why they did that match.
You want to talk about a mind F on a match? All right. I don't even know why they put Bobby Lashley with Omos. It was just definitely a filler match for sure.
Definitely.
I was interested in seeing it because, you know, I didn't realize how big Omos was until Bobby Lashley stands up to him. You're like, oh my God, Bobby Lashley is huge. Omos is standing over him. This dude's a giant.
I don't know if Omos is a guy that is going to have a good WWE career. I don't know. I don't think so.
I don't know. Like
he might just be too big. He might.
Like back in the day, yeah, Land of the Giants, but people prefer like
smaller people now.
These athletic high divers. I mean, yeah, the power guys are cool, but you know, anyways, yeah, Bobby Lashley. What throws me off is, so did you watch the Elimination Chamber?
The guy that never actually lost his belt.
I know.
And I was confused about that because I asked somebody, and they said the reason they done that is because Bobby Lashley needed surgery on his shoulder Shoulder surgery takes months to recover from. So if he had surgery, how the hell did he recover that fast? But saying that, in that match though with Omos, he didn't really do a lot, did he?
Omos threw him around, that's for sure.
No, he did.
He gave Omos one hell of a spear, but I would definitely say Omos controlled the majority of that match.
Yeah, because if he did have surgery, he shouldn't have even been in that match, really. But down the road, though, because technically I know he technically never lost the belt, he's going to have a go at Roman. It will be a match Roman and Bobby will get in the ring because he was champion. But again, does that work now because the belts have been unified? So I don't know if that does.
I'm curious on what are we going to do? We also got Brock. Brock is technically entitled to a rematch. Are we going to have a three-way fatal match? A triple threat match, excuse me. I just don't know on that
Brock, I think Brock just might disappear for a bit.
He's more of the WrestleMania card. He got his paycheck for doing WrestleMania, and he's
it's interesting. Did you ever hear the Stone Cold interview when they were talking about the match where Taker lost to Brock? Did you hear what he said?
No.
Well, he basically said that he'll do whatever Vince tells him to, Taker will, because there's obviously a conspiracy out there that Brock legitimately knocked him out and he wasn't meant to lose the match. And he said, although I was concussed within the first 5 minutes of that match, and he said, don't blame Brock. It could have been anything because his head's been bashed all over for years, isn't it? Could have been anything that caused that concussion. He said, though, he tried to stop. He didn't think that Brock should have the win because he said to Vince, Brock's had a star-studded career, UFC, WWE, won it all. It's not going to elevate his wrestling career by taking a streak off me. And he's right. But because Vince wanted it so much, he did it for Vince. But he said that with Brock, he said to Vince, it won't elevate his career. You need a young guy. You need someone like Roman or someone. He didn't say names, but someone that he'd actually give the rub, as they say, give the rub to. It didn't have that effect with Brock. You see what I mean? Because he was already a star-studded superstar. Do you know what I mean? He was already. You see what I mean? But that's what Taker said in the interview. He did it because Vince asked him to, and he always does what Vince tells him to. But he didn't think it was needed. He says to end the streak would be something you need to pass to a younger guy looking to come up that would mean something, not for someone with a career like Brock.
If I could have some creative control or any ears of WWE, I always said the Undertaker, because he doesn't need to be wrestling. He is retired, yes, but back in the day, he had the Ministry of Darkness. If he was to basically resurrect the concept of the Ministry of Darkness, but only incorporate one guy, and that is Bray Wyatt. If you were to have, have basically the Undertaker,
Taker the manager,
basically, and that's the other thing, to have Taker as Bray Wyatt's manager, to basically give the Bray Wyatt the head nod of basically, this is the new dead man right here, Bray Wyatt. He has the creepiness, he has the demeanor, he can live the gimmick. Bray Wyatt can be the next version of the dead man. And definitely, I feel like the WWE missed a moment on, like you said, letting Bray Wyatt slip through their fingers. And you could literally have the Undertaker out there basically being Bray Wyatt's, oh my God, Paul Bear, his version of Paul Bear.
You could. You're right. You could. It's that would be a very good idea. But I don't know if I don't know. See, I think Taker he could do that, but I think Taker would prefer to be in the ring. You see, wrestling. See, you've been doing it that long, but
Well,
it's a
right.
great idea, though. It's a great.
But right,
Would,
but that's where
would
like
have
you
been
can't be in
great.
the ring wrestling, but you can be in the ring training.
Yeah, that would. Yeah, you are right.
He'd be able to give some of those moves to Bray Wyatt, show him some of the ropes of, what it's of like, like learning how to tombstone people, learning how to walk the ropes and go old school. All the moves that were basically associated with the Undertaker, and basically just helping Bray Wyatt just shape that dark, sinister character that the WWE always wants to try to have around.
That's true. I agree with you. It would be a great idea. That would be. It would be. But there wasn't. Just looking at the Sunday night. I mean, Johnny Knoxville. What did you think to Johnny Knoxville versus Sami Zayn? Because when I first seen this, because in my opinion, that guy's not. I mean, it's a different market. You know the American market. Is Johnny Knoxville relevant now? Because he's got a new movie.
They've got the new movie on Paramount Plus called Jackass Forever. I have not watched it. I will say right now,
it was a funny match, though. To be fair,
oh, it's funny.
I had to do some googling because there's me thinking that was Hornswoggle. It's not. He's called Wee Man. He's part of the Jackass
he's part
crew.
of Jackass. You didn't know?
And I was like, well, I can't talk, but I was like, Hornswoggle's put some weight on. It weren't him. It weren't.
No, that was Wee Man. You have Chris Pontius, or Party Boy as they call him. I don't know. I don't think Steve-O was there. I could be wrong. I know Johnny Knoxville was there. Basically, what is left of the original Jackass crew. Now, I watched Jackass on MTV back in the day.
Oh, I did.
I also have it like right now, and because you've seen my movie collection in my actual physical library. I have every season of Viva La Bam on DVD. Back when Bam Margera had his own television show that was in line with Jackass. It was done by the same producers. And it's definitely interesting to see Jackass now. Definitely makes me feel old seeing Johnny Knoxville with gray hair. But in Johnny Knoxville's defense, I feel like he did a really good job. Purely because everybody talks about how physically demanding and dangerous wrestling can be, and anybody can do it. But he has literally been shot at with beanbag guns, tasered, all this stuff. Taking a kick to the face from Sami Zayn is probably breakfast to Johnny Knoxville, which is why I'm like, okay, no, Johnny Knoxville, I could see him holding his own in this match because he has been really, really beat up over the years, and it's going to be interesting. I thought it was just going to be a quick match where like just a filler. I didn't realize the whole cast of Jackass was going to start crawling out from underneath the ring.
I didn't either. So it turned out to be a fun match. I actually thought that was going to be absolutely rubbish, but it was quite fun. That was.
It's also fun to watch them try to correct their mistakes. The table with the mouse traps glued to it the mouse traps had already been set off, so somebody had to react to mouse traps that were already set off. And then at the end of the match, the fake plastic mouse trap that they had made to try to make it look like it was metal, but it was PVC glued together. And when Johnny Knoxville pulled the string for the mouse trap to close on Sami Zayn, whoever was in charge of pulling the safety pin forgot their job and didn't pull the safety pin. And Johnny Knoxville realized it. And in the middle of the whole damn thing had to pull the safety pin out because it wouldn't close on Sami Zayn. So it literally, the end of the match almost turned into a giant cluster.
Oh, it was a crazy match, but it was fun. It was fun. The Sasha Banks,
The women's tag
and
team
Naomi.
thing.
It was a massive match with the tag team women. There was quite a lot of them there, weren't there?
How about let me ask you a question, because you're just getting into gaming. I mean, wrestling. How do you feel now? when you left wrestling and now that you've came back, there's actually a woman's tag team title.
I'm not sure because
like I'm
that
not dissing it at all. It's good to see that they're embracing and they've actually given them a tag team
it's
division.
good, but I don't like these like 3 or 4 women, even in the blokes. You know, these triple threat.
Oh yeah,
matches.
the triple threat matches. Those are a pain in the ass.
I need to see them do tag matches, like just 2 on, one tag versus one. But I think it's a good thing. But also, one thing I noticed is the cruiserweight division's disappeared.
Yes,
it has. All them thin people that needed to eat food. Them skinny bone people, real skinny. They've all disappeared.
So, yep, the cruiserweight division. I think to be considered a cruiserweight, you have to be 205 pounds or less.
Yeah, I noticed that had gone. Otherwise, it would have been at Mania.
Well, the only thing is they kind of did that on their own. The cruiserweight division was basically shoehorned into a basically like the WWE network. It was a network only show.
Oh, was it?
And it was called 405 Live. I mean 205 Live, and the whole concept was 205 pounds or less, and it's live. They would film these as like kickoff matches before Monday Night Raw or SmackDown, here's the fun. Like when I went to SmackDown, Roman Reigns and Baron Corbin at the time. Now he's Happy Corbin.
He is. Yeah, I noticed that.
Yeah. So I know they've got a Golden Gloves boxer who Baron Corbin, and they're calling him Happy Corbin. That guy right there. I'll be like, okay, well, I guess you do what you do for a paycheck, but you deserve so much more. Anyways,
exactly.
So at the time, Baron Corbin and Roman Reigns had a feud going, and they had a pay-per-view match planned for them to battle it out at a pay-per-view match. I do not know why, but at the end of Friday Night SmackDown, we saw Bill Goldberg come in and spear the Fiend, because at the time we were going into the Elimination Chamber and Bray Wyatt was going to take on Bill Goldberg for the title. I actually have a shirt from that show that says the Fiend's next. And so they just, at the end of the show, I do not know why, they didn't tell anybody about this, but SmackDown ended and half the crowd left. It was really confusing. And all of a sudden, as we're sitting there, it shifts to the purple. And all of a sudden you even see it. It's like all of a sudden 205 Live. And this was in 2020 before they canceled 205 Live. It didn't make it through the pandemic. I was even like, oh my God, this is when they film it. They did it after the show. And they did a couple rounds of 205 Live. Watching the cruiserweights, and they were really great matches, untelevised. And then the other thing was, what was really not televised is after the cruiserweights left, they had Roman Reigns and Baron Corbin come out, and they did the match. The match that was going to be a pay-per-view match. I have photos of it right now on my cell phone and video of it taking place like a couple weeks before the pay-per-view, and Roman Reigns even won. So I was even like, well, damn, this was worth my money. I got to see the pay-per-view match.
That's crazy.
So yeah, but yeah, I've noticed a lot of their simpler like the cruiserweights, because when you go to these live events, you're not just getting, oh, here's Monday Night Raw, or here's SmackDown done, the show's over. You actually get some matches that aren't televised, at least when I went there.
That's crazy. That is goodness, can't believe that.
But yeah, now going back to the cruiserweights, the guy who would want to keep an eye on is Ricochet. He's right now their Intercontinental Champion, and I actually think he got his start in the cruiserweight division, and he's one of the ones that survived it going away. They grabbed a couple people from the cruiserweight division. I believe we have obviously Ricochet. There's also there's Shelton Benjamin and his tag team partner, the Hurt Business. his tag team partner was one of the cruiserweights. I forget his name. But he was also one of the cruiserweights. But yeah, definitely that whole cruiserweight division. I mean, there was definitely some talent in there, and it really sucks that some of them didn't really just kind of make it past that. Like the 205 live thing didn't live very long.
Yeah, it's it's gone. So it's one thing I noticed. I did, but if they were doing them after and before, they didn't really think much of them anyway, did they?
Dude, they canned so much. Like, did you know? Like, you guys used to have like an NXT UK division.
Oh, so I didn't know. Has that gone now then? Because we did.
I
Used to have
don't know
UK.
I don't know if it's still around. So this is where you get into the controversial stuff going on with NXT. NXT, when Triple H was in control, we had all the black and the dark colors, the black, the golds.
Yeah.
It was definitely a very aggressive, edgy product. And it reminded me a lot of what AEW does now when it comes to like the aggressive, gritty nature of the wrestling. That was NXT. And Triple H did a very good job there and created some really great characters. I mean, that's where we got Finn Balor. God, there's some Bray Wyatt even made it through NXT with the Wyatt family. I mean, like NXT has pumped out some really good talent. And then all of a sudden Triple H disappears and they get rid of William Regal, the gentleman who played Road Dogg from the New Age Outlaws. He was one of the trainers. You even mentioned, you even mentioned the Big Show. He was one of the trainers. It seemed like anybody who was hired under the regime of Triple H, whether they were a trainer or talent. The one guy I'm thinking of is, oh my God, big guy. I think he went to AEW, used to be, you bask in my glory. Oh my God. He was a very successful guy in the NXT.
Oh, bask in my glory.
Bask in the glory.
It rings a bell, but I can't.
I mean, the big dude, big guy. He's they now call him Bearcat Wilson or something. I could be wrong, but yeah, he was a really good talent that the WWE let go of real quick. Don't know why. And I even read a couple articles that's even said, why is like all the talent that was hired by Triple H gone? Like whether you were a trainer or talent, like one of the actual wrestlers, they're just gone. And then all of a sudden NXT gets rebranded into NXT 2.0 for the USA channel on Wednesday nights. It used to be a network only show. Now it's on USA and they're calling it NXT 2.0. And those dark colors of the blacks and the golds are gone. And we have like literally thrown neon paint and the thing looks like a spilt bag of Skittles and it's just bright colors. And the wrestlers are more flamboyant and more like, it's like they completely flipped the 180 the product into something different from what Triple H had going on. And now I'm just like, wow, this is a total different NXT. And I really do not know at this point what the future holds for the WWE when it comes to just the talent situation, because I mean, like I'm going to just they're using Dolph Ziggler just to try to create hype for NXT. And
I was a bit surprised by that. Why the hell is he in there? He shouldn't be in there.
Like the NXT, like people are probably like, oh my God, he knows way too much about wrestling. NXT stands for next. If you haven't figured out the acronym, it stands for next. These are your next superstars for the future.
Yeah.
Why is an already established wrestling superstar like Dolph Ziggler, who has been with the company since the early 2010s? Why is he the NXT champion? And they made him the NXT champion temporarily. It was like only for a few weeks, but it was just long enough for Triple H. I mean, not Triple H, for WrestleMania. And it's really like, why are they trying to drive hype for NXT? Why are they trying to get people to focus on it? And I just really think that people are not embracing the new product.
Yeah, I haven't tried NXT, so I don't know what to say about it because I haven't. But then again, that is one I'm going to have a watch of to see then probably go back and see what the product was when Triple H was running it. And
what throws my mind away is most of these NXT wrestlers that Triple H hired and trained, they're all flooding AEW. Like, I mean,
Yeah.
I turned on AEW and I was like, I know that guy, I know that one. Oh, look, he's there
I have
too.
been recommended to watch AEW because obviously WWE is a wrestling product, but it's not.
So
See,
no, they are an
WWE,
entertainment company. They are not a wrestling
yeah,
company by
I
definition of Vince McMahon.
I agree. There's no in AEW is pure wrestling. There's no as such. There's not really a storyline. I don't think they're not to the degree the WWE go to, but they're more of a wrestling product where WWE is more of an entertainment product. But AEW, I have been recommended to watch it, and apparently people are telling me it's better than what WWE put out. So it depends because there's two different angles. If you want pure wrestling, that's all you want to see all the time, versus build up of storylines, etc. So
one of these days we got to get somebody I know in the community to join us on these wrestling discussions because he knows more about AEW than I do. And when I first started trying to watch AEW, I'm gonna be true. This was like, God, this was before Big Show. This is before a lot of the big. This was actually just when Dean Ambrose flipped over to AEW and became John Moxley. I would tune in every now and then because I'm a Dean Ambrose fan. But what made me not really kind of respect AEW's product at the time, and no offense to anybody in the world, do what you love, always achieve for your dreams, grab that brass ring, shatter the glass ceiling. But when I turned on to AEW, what was confusing to me, so it was a tag, it was not even it was a tag team group of 3, not 2, 3. And it was called the Jurassic Connection. One guy wore a mask. Another dude, like the 2 guys were very physically fit and athletic, and they fit the bill. But the third guy, when I first saw him, I thought somebody was letting their kid wrestle. And I'm not trying to say, I'm not, and like the on the back of this dude's pants said fun size. This guy was acknowledging the fact that he was that small. This dude looked like he was 120 pounds soaking wet, and I'd be able to throw him over my shoulder and carry him around. I mean, this dude was not big. At first, I thought somebody's kid was wrestling until I realized that was actually a full-size dude, and that he was actually wrestling in a full-size match. And I'm like, okay, wow, this is different. And then obviously we had Chris Jericho running around, and he's trying to be like, I don't know, the Ric Flair of the AEW, getting out of airplanes and all this other stuff. And he's running some kind of rock band or whatever going on in AEW. I don't know. It just felt like it was definitely an entertaining product, but I just gotten so used to the WWE that I didn't really keep with it. But now, I mean, like, dude, since they brought CM Punk, they've really got my attention. And now that we've had this huge flux of talent starting to go to AEW, I've been tuning into matches here and there. I mean, like last Thursday, the match right off the get-go for a Thursday night match, we had John Moxley and Daniel Bryan and another guy versing off some random team. But I mean, like, in all of my WWE watching, I never once watched the gentleman Dean Ambrose, John Moxley, whatever you want to call him, team up with Daniel Bryan, who's now Bryan Danielson.
He's gone back to his old wrestling name. Yeah.
Oh, he's Daniel Bryan now?
No, sorry. Before he joined WWE, he was always called Bryan Danielson.
Right. Well, I think that was because the WWE, now that's where the WWE gets kind of screwed up. They try to lock people into these contracts. If you want to wrestle under this name, it has to be under this company. And it's like, really? That's kind of
well, that's
dumb.
what he was called before he ever entered the WWE, Bryan Danielson.
Right.
So, but people know him.
But which is why he didn't let WWE have Bryan Danielson. He could have came in under that name, but if he ever left with WWE, he probably wouldn't be able to take it with him, which is why he chose to choose a different name.
It's like AJ Styles. They will own his name now. I don't know, actually, because he used that in New Japan. So unless AJ cut a deal where he owns it.
I think he could do that because also, like, no offense to Daniel Bryan or Bryan Danielson, he is no AJ Styles. He is not an
Oh,
international since at the time. He was
yeah.
not at the time of Daniel Bryan's signing. He was not an international sensation like
No.
AJ Styles was when AJ Styles got signed by the WWE.
He
And
came in with his crew, didn't he? There was 2 other guys. I can't think who
oh
he
my,
came
yep.
with. They
Oh
come
my.
from Japan too.
And those guys actually ended up, I believe, at TNA.
Yeah,
Total
it looks like.
nonstop action.
I used to watch that because it used to be on TV here. TNA did.
Yep, TNA is
Back
also,
when Hogan,
I believe,
back when Eric Bischoff tried to run it, then Hulk Hogan tried to run it, then all sorts of people tried to run it.
All right, the next owner of TNA is, I know, TNA changed hands so many times. It ended up on a very, very low budget cable network, and yeah, it definitely died off pretty quick. But the thing is, it's still kind of around because the guy who owns AEW, I think owns it, because now that's where I've seen the TNA champions make an appearance on AEW. So they have crossover. I think TNA is just untelevised at this point.
Yeah, I think you can watch it on the Fight app, Fight Network.
Right now,
I think I might be wrong. That's where you get AEW from. Legally in the UK,
isn't Taz part of the AEW announcers?
Yeah, Taz was always. I used to watch TNA years ago, and Taz was always excellent at announcing. Very good at his job. Yeah,
I love Taz back in the day. I would definitely say Taz was one of my favorites.
Yeah, he was good. He was definitely good. But yes, but as for Mania, yeah, it was. Who else? Hang on, I'll just get a list. So the Edge match and AJ Styles match, I thought was solid. That was actually a very good match. That was
very good match, but I feel like the ending, because now
yes, that annoyed me. That really wound me up.
Because now they're dragging that into a storyline.
Oh yeah, I seen that coming, but I thought you're joking. You have this incredible match and he loses like that. Do you know what I mean? You know.
Apparently Edge started his own cult, and Damian Priest is his first member. That's where I'm just like, man, I didn't see that. I didn't see this coming. That's where I was like, great, solid match. What happened to the ending?
Exactly. And then you had the Pat McAfee. Well, you had Sheamus and Ridge Holland versus Xavier and Kofi. It weren't that. Take it or leave it, you can. But then there was Vince versus Pat McAfee.
Well, you had Austin Theory versus Pat McAfee. That was actually semi-interesting. Know that.
Yeah, I'm looking at that, and I just read the one below it. It was Pat McAfee versus Austin Theory.
Right, and then that was mostly just to let Pat McAfee have his WrestleMania dream of just wanting to wrestle. And he took it like a champion. And the reason why I say he took it like a champion is he obviously went through that with Austin Theory. And then the whole thing started with Vince McMahon. And we all know Vince does what Vince does best.
Yeah.
But when Stone Cold came out, and like that whole thing, and just starts freaking stunning everybody, and Pat McAfee is basically laying on the ground, pouring a beer onto his face because he's so excited that he just got stunned by Stone Cold Steve Austin.
But that was incredible, because I'll tell you now, right? Pat McAfee took that stunner good. You know why? Because a lot of them fake these stunners, right? They get a stunner and their body jumps all around the ring. Whose body, when they get slammed to the ground like that, whole body starts jumping around like a rabbit or something around the ring? Yeah, he drops.
Glad you noticed that.
The way he dropped, you would drop just to the floor. But like that ring announcer the night before, Brian Saxton,
yeah.
What's all this flipping about when they get a stunner? That's not the way Pat McAfee took that. Is how you would probably.
Brian Saxton is just an eccentric announcer. He's actually very friendly. He's actually got a great attitude.
He's a nice guy.
Oh, but you should hear his commentary sometimes. Like him and Corey Graves will get into arguments commentating. But yeah, that's where not to sound stupid, but Stone Cold was my dude growing up. Me and my friend,
awesome.
I had a really good close friend that I grew up with that we played all the wrestling games on his PlayStation at his house. And there'd be times we'd throw the couch cushions down on the floor and we'd have these wrestling matches as kids. And I've actually been lit up on a stunner. The only thing between me and my knees was nothing more than a foam couch cushion. So I actually know what it's like to have your knees hit the ground on a stunner. And freaking that's where I'm just like, yeah, when you watch like the stunner from Austin Theory and he does the stunner off of his feet and he jumps like 6 feet, 8 feet in the air and starts flopping around. I'm like, well, that was just stupid.
Yeah. A lot of the people that get a stunner and they don't act like that. I just think the way Pat McAfee landed it would be how you should land it. I don't know what all this flopping around the ring is about. I don't get it.
No, the worst stunner was the one that was given to Vince McMahon. Stone Cold.
He tried to get out of it.
He tried to get out of it, but no, Stone Cold was trying to cradle him into it, and that's, excuse my French, but Stone Cold knew he fucked that stoner up so bad.
Yeah,
that he was running around the ring laughing his ass off, catching beers. And he couldn't stop laughing long enough to drink the beer because he knew that was probably the worst stunner he's ever delivered to anybody. And even Vince McMahon knew, because Vince McMahon floated to the ground like a feather.
Oh, it was good, but it was good. It was also, I think he was there because it was all arranged because, well, he was in Texas, wasn't he?
Oh, you can't have WrestleMania in Texas without having
Stone Cold. Centurion's having problems at the minute. His devices are not connected currently. I don't know what's going on, but I'll keep talking. But yeah, that was a good show. That was Stone Cold giving out the stunners with his own branded beer. I love it how it was like the old days where they kept chucking drinks to him.
Hear me now?
I thought I'd keep it going for you, Centurion.
Oh no, dude, I'm sorry. I touched the
fine.
I didn't know the connection on the bottom of my microphone was hanging on by a thread.
Oh, okay.
All right. Well, good time to discover that. Sorry about that. But
you're all right.
Yeah, man. You can't have WrestleMania in Texas without having Stone Cold there. And dude, you want to know something? It is damn good to see Stone Cold looks that healthy.
Oh,
we're talking about a dude that was dropped on his head in probably one of the worst pile drivers you'll ever see delivered in your life. And to see him now, yeah, he's got some leg braces on, but that guy looks healthy for what he's been through.
Oh yeah, definitely. I definitely agree with that. It was good to see because when they obviously this was not a Stone Cold match. They can call it. These weren't Stone Cold matches.
No, this was not a sanctioned match. This was just very, very.
But do you think
impromptu.
they will ever do that one last match with Stone Cold? Do you think they'll ever do a proper, or do you think it'll just be, if they ever do it again, it will be little matches like that, just a few stunners here and there, and that'll be it?
Maybe just a few stunners here and there.
Yeah.
Basically, have them come out.
People enjoy it.
People enjoy it,
but
and they accept it.
They must have had a good cleaning team because the way he soaks that ring. And I noticed how on the network, you know how you used to see, they used to carry it on. They wouldn't cut to adverts, etc., or different scenes. Well, you never got, after the match, you never even got to see a lot of them walking back down the ramp until they cut to something else. Do you know what I mean? You're on the network. This is what confused me. You're on the network and you've watched night one. Yet in night two, they have to keep reminding you what happened in night one. Keep showing you clips from night one. I didn't understand why they had to keep doing that, but I suppose it was part of cleaning the ring up, etc. When Stone Cold soaked it, because he soaked it. They soaked it before the Brock and Roman match, didn't they?
I know.
Completely
I was
soaked
making
it.
jokes about that to my wife. I was like, could you imagine right now going in the back and be like, all right, rings covered in blood, sweat, and beer. Y'all have fun now. I'm out of here.
Yeah, exactly.
Dude, that ring was soaked. I'm just like, man, I've always made jokes going, I would hate to be the wrestler that had to wrestle after like the match that was really, really messy.
Oh yeah, no, you're not wrong. You're not wrong. But yeah, the Brock. What did you think of the Brock Roman match? I thought it was quite good. It was.
I thought it was good. I honestly thought that Roman was going to drop the belt. I'll be honest on that. He's been champion for over a year now. Longest title reign. I think he's like I think he's like at least up in the top 10 for time now, maybe even top 5. I thought for sure he was going to drop that belt because I mean, it's Brock Lesnar, great time. Brock, I can only imagine what how much time that Roman Reigns stays away from his family. But at the same time, he's got the Usos with him, so he's surrounded by family. If people don't know, Roman Reigns is part of the tribe, the same, I believe, I think it's like a Polynesian tribe of the same tribe that basically the Samoans that the Rock comes from.
The Samoans, yeah.
Yes, the Samoans. And basically the Rikishi is actually the Usos' father. And and who is it? Roman Reigns' dad is, God, he was Big Chief's. He was referred to as Chief something as when in his wrestling time.
Oh,
so that's where.
I think where his dad is.
So because The Rock is actually Roman Reigns is The Rock's cousin.
Yeah, I know that.
They are that closely related, which is why we saw Roman Reigns in a Fast and the Furious movie.
See, that's why Roman had such a big tough time coming into WWE because of The Rock,
right,
and of the Usos. But from what I gather, because when I last watched it, he was having a hard time getting over because Vince was trying to pit him as the babyface, top guy. From what I gather, he had cancer yet. He got over cancer.
He had leukemia. He
came back as the bad guy, and they embraced him.
Exactly. And that's where, well, I think it was also because Paul Heyman, but we'll get into that in a sec.
That will be, yeah.
The leukemia thing, in my opinion, gave me uber respect for Roman Reigns. I will be truthful. I like Roman Reigns. I enjoyed him during the Shield era. I never had ill will towards Roman Reigns, but for real, he was definitely running out of steam there. When he was playing the babyface, like people would boo him. They couldn't stand him. They just didn't really like, there's no way you can be this aggressive, hard ass, nice guy. So then all of a sudden he came out, and I will never forget that day. I think, if I was like, hi, my name is like, I think his name is like Mike or Paul. He just comes out. He's like, no, my name is Joe. He comes out and gives his real name, like just walks out into the ring, and you know something was up because he's like not even in the proper clothing to do anything. He's in like sweatpants and jogging shoes and like this, and he looks like he's getting ready to like go to the gym. And you're just like, what is going on? He's not even like wearing normal stuff. And hi, my name's Joe, and I have leukemia for the second time in my life. And I was like, oh, it got like the crowd was booing him and all this stuff. And all of a sudden he says that the whole crowd got silent quick. Everybody was like, oh, whoa. And basically that's where he just tells everybody like, hey, I'm going to go away for a while and I'm going to do some treatment. And hopefully
I watched that.
Yeah. And that was actually like a tear jerking moment for me, because you watch a human being like really just come out on national television and pretty much break down and tell everybody, this is what I live to do, and I'm sick and I need to go get help. And like, you're just like, oh my God. And dude, I mean, months went by and I still remember that Survivor Series. All of a sudden you hear Roman Reigns' music come on, and like you see it, and he's wearing that shirt, and I even have the damn shirt, and it says, show up, wreck everything, leave. and he comes out and did exactly what that shirt said. And the very next night, you had Paul Heyman introduce Roman Reigns, and he exploded. Like Paul Heyman, Roman Reigns, perfect combination, and I really think they hit the ground running. And that's where they kind of like brought the Usos in, and now you have the Bloodline. At first, the Bloodline was annoying to me, but I really feel like they found their stride.
Oh yeah, it seems to be working. It's weird though. It's like you got the Usos heel, we got the Roman heel, and you got the Usos' wife. One of the Usos' wife, big time babyface.
What do you mean? One of the Usos is a big time babyface?
No, one of the Usos, his wife's a big babyface.
Oh, that's right. Yeah,
The
Naomi.
Glow.
Yeah, Naomi is I think Jimmy Uso.
I'm not sure. It's one of them. I'm not sure.
So I know Jay Uso is the one that they call him like big time Jay Uso or whatever. He was the one that was around Roman Reigns for the longest time, and Jimmy wasn't around. And Jimmy came back around because I think Jimmy had to have like major shoulder surgery.
Okay.
And I'll say Jay held his own as a solo player. I mean, won himself a title, really made a name for himself. And yeah, main event Jay Uso, and Jimmy came back, and that's Naomi's husband.
Okay, yeah. But yeah, she's a good character too. But yeah, they all seem to have talent. They do. Something about that family, definitely.
Oh,
but
dude, yeah.
No,
And I love listening to their stories about their family, about how like they always have barbecues, and it's all because they're they're multi-generational wrestlers.
Oh yes,
The people they sit down and eat with at a barbecue were in the wrestling industry, like are legends. And like, I mean, like, and The Rock is there breaking bread with them, and just to hear some of the conversation, like Naomi talks about it in some of her interviews because she married into this, and she's like, dude, it's just an interesting lifestyle because you go over to their house and they're so family oriented, and they just invite everybody over, and they just have these great big barbecues, and everybody's just there, and it's just like literally you're living the wrestling industry at a barbecue.
That's true. It is. It must be crazy. It must be. But overall, WrestleMania was good, I thought. Not every match was great, but overall, as a whole, it was quite a good overall. It was. I would say that the first night was better than the second night, obviously, but overall, it was a good show. It was.
Definitely. I don't have any complaints. You know, I've never walked into any pay-per-view where I enjoyed every single match.
But I am one of these people that I've got an old school mentality where I think that the main belt should only be defended on pay-per-views only. And sometimes you may not. I have a very old school mentality where sometimes the belt won't be defended on pay-per-view and they just leave it. That's an old school mentality, though. That's how it used to be. Sometimes it wasn't even defended.
Well, that's the only thing. On a pay-per-view, you should have your belt defense. Now, I'm not saying. Now, you're saying it should be defended every pay-per-view, or should it be skipped every now and then?
No, I think sometimes it should be. If it's a real minor pay-per-view, should be skipped.
Okay.
But there is certain. But obviously, you can build a match that can be like the women's matches, for instance, in the first night in that Mania. The two women's matches were the main events for me. They weren't, in my opinion, they were excellent. But it all depends on the pay-per-view, really. I'm not saying skip every pay-per-view, just the odd pay-per-view. Do you know what I mean? It's a different way. I don't have they done that recently? No, has that not been done?
Just recently, if you want me to be so, if I'm correct, at the Elimination Chamber, Roman Reigns was not there and did not defend his title because because Bobby Lashley had to defend the belt to 5 other guys in the Elimination Chamber.
So they have done it, but it wasn't noticeable.
Right.
It can be done then. I mean like that, so you don't notice it, but But now it's unified. That's going to be quite difficult. There's only one belt for both shows, technically. So does
Well,
that
they're
mean
trying to
that
do
if
that for
Roman,
tag teams now.
if Roman feels like it, he can just challenge someone on a rival SmackDown?
So
Like,
Roman,
does that mean
we're gonna start seeing more superstars appearing on both shows. They're not gonna have the brand separation that they've had in the past. The WWE has done it before. When the brand got big during the WCW, when they acquired WCW, they took in a large influx of talent, and they had to divide the brand. And you had Monday Night Raw versus SmackDown. So you had Team Red versus Team Blue, which has kind of led to what Survivor Series is now. Every year in November, Survivor Series is literally Raw versus SmackDown. But every couple of years, when they lose a lot of talent for whatever reason, the company becomes smaller and they get rid of that division. And that's where you start having less belts and you start seeing talent that moves around to both shows. But then it also can become more physically demanding for the talent when you do it that way. Like, look at Roman Reigns. He was the champion for a show that would appear on Friday nights. So that means you only go to work on Friday nights or during a pay-per-view, whether it's on a Saturday or a Sunday. But you could pretty much be like, yep, Friday night's booked for me. That's when my show is. But now he has to now float between at least two shows, and that's Friday Night SmackDown and Monday Night Raw. So that means literally he's going to be appearing at one show on a Friday night, and he has to get on a plane and hurry up and get to wherever by Monday for the next show, if that's how they want it to work. So when you have somebody that caters to both shows, they actually end up having a more physically demanding schedule. And that's where I'm going to be really curious on, is Roman Reigns going to be able to still, because he's been champion now for over a year, doing it only on Friday nights. I'm really curious now on how long he's going to be champion doing it for, probably a lot more.
Yeah. That will be interesting to see. That will be. But yeah, it's been a fun talk about wrestling. We've probably not got no viewers due to us doing wrestling, but it was a fun conversation.
We love games.
Anyway.
We promise. If it's any consolation, I watched it on my Xbox.
Yeah. It don't matter anyway. You will get people listen after. There is wrestling fans out there.
Oh, dude!
I've tried to SEO it to wrestling fans. Whether we've done it right or not, I don't know.
Real quick, before we end it, me and you have talked about it. What's your opinion on the new WWE 2K22? I'm even eyeballing that damn game, and I haven't bought a wrestling game since WWE 13.
It looks good, and I haven't bought one in years. Last time I bought one was Xbox 360.
Oh wait,
that's how long it's been. So
I lied. I bought WWE Battlegrounds because I really enjoyed the style of that game. So I'll be truthful. I bought their WWE Battlegrounds.
I would buy it. It's just the 70 quid price tag is a bit much for the Series X version. And I found it for 50 quid, but it's the Xbox One version. But if you've got the Series X, you might as well have if there is an enhancement. So it's just the price. So sometime in the summer, I have heard that 2K are quite quick at dropping sales on them games.
Right now, they have the game on sale for the spring sale on Xbox.
How much is it now?
They just put it it's been on there. I think today's the last day of the sale.
Oh, I could be wrong. I have missed it because it's about to drop over until midnight.
Oh, that's right.
I wouldn't have the money anyway. I'll probably try and get it in the summer. There'll be another sale.
I keep eyeballing it because right now for I see your problem. Okay. So the versions that are on sale are the Xbox One version, that's $45. The cross-gen digital bundle, that one you're talking about is $80. And right now the full package, the NWO
£105 version, 105
right? That one's $90 right now.
Yeah.
See, that's where I'm like, dude, if that NWO for Life version was probably more like the $60 range, I probably would jump on it.
Yeah, but it does look good. It does look good. The game I heard, like
Well,
the guys from the I don't know if you ever watched the Gamers Watch podcast. They're good. It's a good podcast. They run it's a gaming show, but they're more comedy, and they talk about wrestling and they that well they talk about it now and then, and they all like wrestling or what Harry's trying to get into wrestling. He's trying. They keep testing him with knowledge. They do, but they were talking about the game and they really like it as well. The WWE 2K22.
I think
They like it.
D-Batch on Dealer Gaming Show RDX, he was playing it, and he actually, I guess he loves wrestling from listening to him on the show, which is really cool. And he said that this has actually been one of the more enjoyable wrestling games that he's played in a long time from them.
Yeah, so
At least that's what last time I heard.
I do want to pick it up at some point. Probably in the summer when I've got more money.
What kind of sold me on wanting to get it, I guess, because I just always would shuck it off and be like, it's just another wrestling game. And then Scott Hall passed, and I was like, oh, dude, I want that NWO version now.
Yeah, it does look good. It looks and then because you probably want it because all the way through WrestleMania they were pushing it to you as well.
Oh yeah, I know. I got my subliminal marketing. That's for sure.
Yeah, it was crazy how they actually put like Rey Mysterio on the front cover. I was surprised by that. Because
he deserves
WWE, but WWE over the years have never really respected. I don't know if it's obviously storyline wise, but they've never really. They gave him the main belt once for like 5 minutes, didn't they? And then took it off him. They've never really.
I would have to agree. They have never given the recognition to Rey Mysterio with a belt for a long time. I know they let it, but
it's really little.
Look at some of the other recognitions that they've given him. He started a Royal Rumble and finished that Royal Rumble as the winner, and then went on to win the title at that WrestleMania, all in the name of Eddie Guerrero. They really let him live out some things that you can't really put a gold belt on or a price tag on.
That's true.
And one of the big things that they're letting him do now is he actually almost, I think, ended up at AEW. And one of the things that they offered Rey Mysterio that AEW could not offer him was the chance to not only hire his son as a talent, Dominic Mysterio, but also for Rey to train him and wrestle next to him. And for a short time there, they were even tag team champions. So Rey Mysterio was able to have the memory of being tag team champions with his son, Dominic Mysterio. And that's where I really think that they have helped Rey in different ways. And I just really think that Rey is a very humble person.
Oh, he is.
And he doesn't need that belt to feel recognition. I think that he just looks for different things in life, and the WWE has helped fulfill those things for him.
Oh no, I definitely agree. I think behind the scenes they do heavily respect him, but storyline wise, it doesn't seem very often. But he is very well respected, and he probably helps train them too, as well.
Oh God, well, yeah, because like if you really, he has like a dying art, like luchador, like the lucha libre kind of stuff, like that. That is, you don't really see that used too much. Everybody's more mainstream nowadays, and like this aggressive, edgy, hair product and tattoos wrestling. But definitely I love the luchador style, all the glitter, the glitziness and the masks. Like it's interesting to see Rey Mysterio and his masks, and sometimes you try to connect them to which comic book character he's actually trying to represent.
Exactly. It is great. It is. But yeah, it's been a good show. It definitely has. I've enjoyed talking about wrestling, WrestleMania, and I think what we'll do is when there's a pay-per-view on, we can always mention it. Obviously, this was a bigger pay-per-view. This was so.
Right.
I think what we'll do, we'll be gaming next time, and we will mention wrestling here and there as well.
Well, we did talk about a game. we actually talked about WWE 2K22 and Lego Star Wars.
We did, yeah. But yeah, thanks for everyone tuning in after the fact. And on Spotify and Apple Podcasts. Please leave a 5-star review if you like the show. We won't always be wrestling. Sometimes we'll mix it in here and there. This was more of a WrestleMania special show. That's
Right.
once a year. The pay-per-views generally ain't as big.
Try to do it more often
usually.
as well too. Well, just shows more often, but for people right now unaware, it is like what 1 o'clock in the morning over there.
Yeah, it's like 12 midnight. So
whoa, what? Oh yeah, never mind. You're only 7 hours ahead. I did my math wrong.
it's the clocks changed again. They did.
We don't participate.
Because what happens is there's 2-week period where you guys change yours before us, and when that happens, it changes the clocks to.
My clock don't change. I live in Arizona.
No, you're right there. That's true. yeah, that's true. But yeah, it's been a good show. It has, and we'll be back in a fortnight. Yeah, that's what we're doing, aren't we?
Yeah, pretty much.
And we'll try and keep it up once a fortnight. We will try and be a bit more consistent. We will. But thanks for tuning in, everyone on YouTube, everyone that popped in earlier, and everyone that's going to listen after the fact. Please drop a comment down below, your thoughts on the show, and please subscribe. We'd love to get to 30 subscribers. You never know, we might get 100 by the end of the year. Who knows? But anyway, thanks everyone, and we'll see you in 2 weeks.
Later.